Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be answering the question, what are the uses of a full stop? I know. You know what a full stop looks like. You might be thinking, what more is there for me to know about a full stop? Well, in America they call it a period, but in British English there are 4 key uses to a full stop. So it makes sense to run through them and then check out if you know how to use them appropriately. The most common use of a full stop is as the punctuation mark that's used at the end of a sentence that is a complete statement. For example, my nan bought me a pair of trainers. It's a complete statement because there is a subject, my nan, there's an object, the trainers, and then there's the verb bought. But the 3 other uses are as follows. We can use a full stop in abbreviations to replace letters that are not included. So for example, as opposed to writing November, I could in shorthand write NOV dot, and you'd know what I meant. Or if someone writes PM, that often stands for past midday. It actually comes from Latin, but we don't need to go into that. Another use could be in websites and email addresses. For example, misshannahlovesgrammar@learning.com, which is not a real website, uses the dot before the com. These dots or full stops used in email addresses and websites are relatively modern. In our digital age, though, it's important that you put the full stops in the correct places when writing an email address or a website, otherwise you won't find the website you're looking for or your message won't get delivered if it's via email. And finally, and probably most importantly for us when we're trying to emphasise a statement in our writing, a full stop can be used even when the sentence does not contain a subject and an object. It shouldn't be used much, but it can be used occasionally. Let's look at this example. It kept hitting me. This hurt. I want to concentrate on the second sentence because the first sentence has a subject and an object. The subject is it and the object is me and the verb is hitting. The second sentence is just 2 words. This hurt. In a dramatic description, it actually heightens our sense of feeling sorry for whoever this person is that they are hurt. It's quite important that those 2 words are within one sentence that ends in a full stop. But it's important we realise that technically that last sentence is not a formal sentence. It's what we'd call a minor sentence because it contains only the statement. It doesn't contain the subject and the object. So there are 4 uses, but let's see how we use them. So decide from the 4 statements that are listed below that use a full stop if they are using the full stop correctly. If so, how do you know? And if not, equally, why not? Hit pause if you need thinking time. So, what did you find? How did you get on? No one else was there. That sounds quite dramatic. So yes, the full stop here is being used for emphasis. It's a statement, but it's not so clear where the subject, object and verb lie. This night. Well, that's not a sentence as such. And also, night has been spelt wrong. It looks as though the person here has tried to note down an abbreviation for night. So unfortunately, the use of the full stop is incorrect. It must be an official abbreviation, something like Eve would work. If I was writing a message that said this Eve, and even that would look informal. It's something we would use online perhaps in an informal capacity, but probably not something we would use in formal written conditions, let's say for an application or anything of more credible, serious written quality. Now, this person here, they're trying to write to someone who has a Gmail account called winningatlife@gmail, but it should be at gmail.com. Instead, they've put the dot after the com. So unfortunately, that person will not manage to send the email to winningatlife@gmail.com. Remember, a full stop needs to go in the correct spaces for it to get sent. You need to read carefully if you're going to do that. And an easy way to go back over it is to realise that a full stop would often go before the com, so .com or .co, whatever nation you're in, .org or .net. If it's an organisation, it will be .org, and .net as if you're part of a network. But it's important to check that when you're using a full stop. And finally, the waiter handed us the menu. Well, absolutely yes. That is a full sentence with the subject, the waiter, the object, which is the menu, and the very act through the verb of the waiter handing you the menu. So now it's your turn. For each of these 5 examples, I want you to identify if the full stops have been used appropriately or not, and be able to explain how you know. Hit pause if you need thinking time. So, how did you get on? a.blogs@email.com. This sounds pretty straightforward. It suggests they've used the full stops appropriately because they've identified the .com. Seems like a correct email use to me, so the full stops seem correct. He burnt the chicken. As you can see from this sentence, we have a clear subject, he, object, the chicken, and verb, burnt. It's a full sentence, and that full sentence statement automatically makes it the appropriate use of full stops. I had to wait 30 mins for the bus. In this instance, the abbreviation of 30 minutes to 30 mins makes the writing in this sentence unclear. Because that is the case, the first full stop that is used in the middle of the sentence is very confusing for any reader. I would urge you, if you can, to simplify writing an abbreviation with a full stop down to writing the full word in a sentence that's to be read professionally or formally. The final full stop, however, at the end of the sentence is correct. I had to wait 30 minutes for the bus would be a full sentence without the first full stop. The very dramatic series of short sentences, lost, alone, far away from home, they add emphasis. So yes, each of these sentences, whilst technically not involving a subject, object and verb within each sentence, add emphasis and can therefore be said to use full stops appropriately. Finally, M.R. dot. If you were to receive that on the front of a letter, you would know it's an abbreviation for Mr. It's formal, and it's a famous abbreviation that you just need to learn. So yes, it's the correct use of a full stop. It's important for you to realise that you can't champion punctuation unless you know all uses of each type of punctuation that is in use. So whilst on the face of it, a full stop is easy to understand, it's not so easy to always use it correctly. Good luck. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?